So this is a video about factoring when a is greater than 1, and we are going to be working through the example problem 2x squared minus x minus 3. Okay, so we're going to be factoring by grouping is the method we've been using. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to do our x, okay? And in the top we're going to do what is it multiplying to, and in the bottom what is it adding to. Okay, so in the top we're going to have 2 times negative 3, okay? So we do a times c is my top piece here, and that gives me negative 6. So I want it to multiply to negative 6. Now I want my middle number here, so negative 1, that's what we're going to try to add to. So we want to find two numbers that multiply to negative 6 but add to negative 1. Okay, so the two numbers that I can think of that do that are negative 3 and 2. Now, if that's a cumbersome process for you, then that's something else you got to look at a different time, a different place. We're not going to go over searching for the actual factors in this video. If you know the factors of negative 6, then just add them up and see which one adds to negative 1, okay? So, what we're going to do now is we found that this adds to negative 1. So this number plus this number adds to negative 1. So what that means is we can take this negative 1 here and we can split this term into a sum of these two terms here, okay? So we keep our first term the same, and then we have minus 3x plus 2x, and then we keep our third term, minus 3. Okay, so I want to highlight here, this here is still equal to negative x, okay? I haven't changed anything, I just rewrote it, okay? What this allows me to do is it allows me to add grouping symbols here. So I'm going to factor by grouping. So grouping symbols, also commonly known as parentheses, okay? I'm going to add those parentheses in there, and I'm going to look for a GCF within each set of parentheses. So in my first set here, I have 2x squared minus 3x. So I see that I have an x term here and an x term here, so I know I can take an x out, okay? I have a 2 and a negative 3, so there's no number GCF that I can take out here. So it's just going to be x, okay? So x is going to be on the outside, and I will do my GCF over here now. Okay, so I have 2x minus 3. Now, I want what's in between these parentheses to end up matching each other. And when I factor this x out here, okay, I'll write it. I give up. Okay, that leaves me with, take an x out of that, 2x. Take an x out of that, minus 3. Okay, I already have 2x minus 3 here, so I want to go ahead and leave this the same. So what that means, I had to factor out the GCF that I took out is actually just a 1. Okay, so now it's time to identify what are my two factors. Okay, your two factors are this thing and plus this thing, so that's x plus 1. And then my other factor is the repeated factor here, so 2x minus 3. Okay, now what this is essentially doing is this is undoing the steps of distribution. This is undoing the simplification. If I started with these two, right, x plus 1 times 2x minus 3, okay, when I multiply this through, I do x plus 1 times 2x. I'm basically doing a double distributive property. So I have x plus 1 times 2x. So let's do with 2x times x plus 1. And then I do x plus 1 times negative 3. So plus negative 3 times x plus 1. Multiply through, I get 2x squared plus 2x. And then over here, plus negative 3x minus 3. Combining like terms, that leaves me with 2x squared minus x minus 3. Alternatively, okay, I could have distributed my terms a different way, okay, which is where we would have gotten the way we factored it, okay? Because we could have, rewritten this as plus 2x and minus 3x, which would have left us with this thing here, okay? So this is saying, okay, let's distribute x through both of them. So I have x times 2x minus 3, and then, so that's what that happened there. And now I'm going to say plus 1 times 2x minus 3. So plus 1 times 2x minus 3. When I distribute through, I get 2x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 3 to x squared minus x minus 3. So as you can see, this step right here is this step right here, okay? And this step right here is this one after we've taken the GCFs out. And then when we write our final factors, we're at this step, okay? So this really is just a backwards distribution. What did we distribute through? How did we distribute it through? Now I want to go through a second example. It's a little more complex, okay? So the first thing I need to do, I'm going to do it two different ways. So the first way I could do it is I could do it starting the exact same way that we started the other one. So I do 12 times negative 21, which gives me negative 252. And then I want that to add up to negative 36. Now this thing is a huge pain in the butt to factor, but the factors are negative 42 and positive 6. Now, right here, this should be my clue that maybe I should have looked for a different way to do this. Okay, when I'm dealing with numbers this big, it's just a little bit ridiculous. So I'm betting there's an easier way, and in fact there is, and we'll go over it in a second. Okay, but to finish this one out, all right, I'm splitting now into these two. So I have 12x squared minus 42x plus 6x minus 21. Okay, and then I need to GCF. Okay, so I'm going to group here. And let's GCF it up. So I have 12x squared minus 42x. And I can see that I have an x term that I can pull out. And I can pull out a 6 from here, leaving me with, I'm going to put this in a different color, 2x minus 7. Okay, and then plus. All right, over here I see that I can take a 3 out. I don't have any common x's, okay, but 3 is the biggest number that'll go into both 6 and 21. So I can take 3 out, and that leaves me with, get a different color, 2x minus 7. Okay, and that's what we want. We want them to match, right? So I see that I have 6x plus 3 as one of my terms, and I have 2x minus 7 as one of my terms. Now, I'm not done. This looks like I am finished, but the golden rule of factoring is to always look for a GCF, right? And here we have another GCF that I need to take out, right? 6 and 3. So in order for this to be a completely factored expression, then I need to take the 3 out as well. So I have 3 times 2x plus 1 times 2x minus 7. Okay? Now, let's see the easier way. And the easier way is actually following the golden rule and taking that GCF out first. So over here, I have a GCF of 3. Okay? So if I take that 3 out, that's leaving me with 3 times 4x squared minus 36x minus 21. I lied. 4x squared minus 12x minus 7. Now, those are much nicer numbers, okay? So I've taken that GCF out, and I'm just going to kind of leave it here for now. We'll bring it back in when we write our final thing, okay? Right now, we need to focus on factoring this. So now I'm going to do my x. I want it to multiply to 4 times negative 7, negative 28. And I want it to add to negative 12. Okay? So, looking at this, it's looking like my two factors are negative 14 and positive 2. Okay, so let's split this middle term here. I get 4x squared minus 14x plus 2x minus 7. Okay, so here we go. Let's group it. I'm going to get, from here I can pull out a 2x. So 2x, leaving me with, sorry, lots of color switching. Leaving me with 2x minus 7. And over here, I can't pull anything out, so I'm just going to do 2x minus 7. But remember, we have to remember that not pulling anything out is the same thing as pulling a 1 out. So when I now go back to get my factors, I have 2x plus 1 and 2x minus 7. And it wouldn't be complete without our handy dandy 3 that we set aside for safekeeping. Okay, so when we compare our answers from the two different ways, okay, this one I think was a lot easier to do. But it's up to you as long as you end up with this answer at the end. All right, that's all for factoring when a is greater than 1. Hope this helped.